Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Tuxedo Ian, and we are getting back into our playthrough of Book of Hours. And when we last left off, winter had just started, and we had met MCO Constance Lee and helped her out with what's going on in Kaunas, and she didn't sound too happy about it. So, with that said, let's dive right back in and see what we can get done today. Sometimes they can take a few seconds to load here. Here we go. Welcome back. Everything is remembered. Hush House endures. Alright, so we'd started the new day, we had started off reading on Resonance. And we are reading Perugian Diaries as well. Let's see if there's anything else we can work on right now. We've read that one. Oh. Actually, we tagged the wrong book there. But that can be fixed next time we get an end. Alright. So, let's see what we have here. Don't need Fusine for those. Need Epicaean. Need 12. 8 we can get. So, as soon as we are done with those, we can start with this one. And we can get some more levels of Watchman's Paradoxes. And just because I'm curious now, since we do have a level 2 unlocked for the boss, let's see what we can put in there. Okay, we could put Pearl and Tide in there. What returns? The sea accepts every gift it is given, and sometimes now and then the gifts are returned. The Red Grail slew the hour named Tide, and what remained was given to the sea, so perhaps one day that hour might return. This is life, and so this is Bosk. That would give us another health, or we could also assign it to Nyctodromy. What remains? The sea, Whale Road, Salt Realm, Moonway. Anything given to the waves may find another home, unless its home is the sea. Nyctodromy shows us the way across the sea and the way home. So I don't think we want either of those. That would give us Fet, but I think we're going to wait until we have Nyctodromy 2 open for that, because I don't really need another health just yet. Is there anything I can put here in Preservation 2? Yes, I could put Hill and Hollow. How they endured. In the beginning, the Carapace Cross served the first hours, the gods born from stone. When the gods from stone were defeated, what could the cross go? Into the hills, into the bounds, and into us. This is how humankind came to be, and in our most secret hollows the cross endures. This is a matter of preservation, and that would give me another health. We could also assign Hill and Hollow to Birdsong. How they began. In the beginning, the Carapace Cross served the first hours, the gods from stone, and the first of the Carapace Cross were the Thritage kind, who sought the monarch at the crossroads to rule them wisely, and found them in himselves, who began as many and ended as one. This is a riddle, and the riddle makers know its importance. That would give me another core. Well, right now I don't really need another core just yet. Let's see. We can also apply Magathine Mysteries here. Rebirth. The gods who are, which we call the hours, warred against the gods from stone and cast them down. What remains of the gods from stone we call plague, scourge, catastrophe. But if the gods from stone were reborn, would they still be plagues? Would renewal bring peace? The arts unregarded hint that it might be so. And that would give us a health, Or if we assigned it over here to Hushery, revenge. The gods who are, which we call the hours, warred against the gods from stone and cast them down. What remains of the gods from stone we call plague, scourge, catastrophe. If the hours were cast down in their turn, would the gods from stone be satisfied? Would revenge bring peace? The night arts hint it might be so. And that would get us another tryst. But again, we don't really need to do that just yet. So I think we're going to wait until we can get some more languages to plug in on the level 1s before we start assigning more skills, or until we're going to go into start a salon. Let's see, we were planning on hiring someone to work today. Yes, I think we're going to get Mrs. Kill working today. So we'll use Arab to get her attention. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. And we will use our core with her to give her a little bit extra heart. Everything goes easier with a song. As we're going to try and open this third floor up here. So we need to get her to 6. Alright, so we have finished reading on Resonance. Experiments in Ithistry by the skysmith Everett Vincent. Vincent suggests percussion instruments that might be sympathetic to a number of hours and names. Some are more likely than others. Vincent uncontroversially suggests drums of various materials as the sympathetic instrument for the Thunderskin and its ascendant duendrazones. He proposes bells of bronze and iron for the Lionsmith and Colonel. He spends some time on the design of a bee rattle for the Malachite, but doesn't seem entirely confident of his findings. This has taught us a memory of foresight and a lesson on bells and brasseries. So we will mark this with memory foresight to remind us that that's what it gives us. And we can put that down here. And now that we have this, we can go ahead and acquire bells and brasseries. And with this foresight, we can now work on reading ambrosial. And that gives us 8, so we can match this mystery. And we get Forge the Kindled Flame. Ambrosial. Ambrose Westcott's inventive, one might say pioneering, or indeed buccaneering, essays into kitchencraft. And this will get us some more lessons for spices and savors, which will get us some more nectar, which we are sorely lacking at this moment. We do have Rites of the Roots, but spices and savors will also be handy because it does give us some forge as well. Let's see, do we have any way we can read this one yet? Actually, yes we do. So we can come over here. We can use... We need our FET to read that. We can use our Shapt, and we can read 108, which would give us 2... Well, actually, we don't need to do that. We have 2 rows from our occult scrap. So instead, we will use FET... Just versus the occult scrap and sand stories. And we can reach Journey's End. I can master this mystery. And we have finished reading Kitling Ripe's Tasty Treats as well. The Velvet is the hour of secrets, and so very little is known of the Mothlong? Nectarlong, who ascended to immortality under her auspices. But this book, by Kitling's friend, purports to be part cookbook and part manual for immortality. Kitling Ripe is the name usually given to the speechless but never silent cat thing that serves as a name of the Velvet. Kitling Ripe, it seems, enjoys hunting immortals, and the Velvet is very fond of Kitling Ripe. The secret, it appears, is to arouse the kitling's appetite enough to become her quarry, but not quite enough to be caught. The velvet permits the game, since it culls immortals careless enough to attract attention, and keeps her name happy. The author bemoans the loss of the Carapace Cross's savor secrets, which apparently were particularly tempting, but suggests decent spice substitutes, which also happen to make for excellent pigeon pie. I don't know about pigeon pie. We have learned a memory of satisfaction. Some appetites are easier to satisfy than others. 2 grail and 1 heart. And another lesson in spices and savors. So we can mark this with memory satisfaction, which we will have to do here. Where did it go? There it is. Pop that on our red shelf. That one is going to be a little tricky to read for the moment. So spices and savors, we need a forge or nectar memory to upgrade spices and savors. Luckily enough, we have an easy source for that. We can consider this Paradise Palm once we're done learning our next skill. My assistant and I are both a little merrier. Alright, so we need 3 more heart. We can get 1 more from the bowls here. Cake time. Let's see, we want to read that Locksmith's Dream, so we're going to need to rest our Faust because we need that for Sky. We will go ahead and start that. It is winter and the storms have tightened the seas. I am sitting before the fire in the sweet bones of the beef and potato pasty in one hand and a hot ale posset in the other. And now that we have used that other thing, we can use Connie's card and get us another. We can note down her address. Hotel Storchen, Zurich. She expresses interest in moon and sky books and affairs, and she likes sky food and drink, and to get her attention we'll need at least 3 moon. And this will get us another scrap of knowledge. And we have learned bells and braziers. That resonance which lingers from the hammer's touch. 2 forge and 1 sky. So now we need to figure out, we need to get a nectar memory, which we can do by considering this Paradise Palm here. And this will give us a memory of smell. Almost done reading that one. Making progress on those. Yes, today is going to be a reading day, I believe. Jewel has boosted her aspects, so we need to find 2 heart. So what we can do is we will talk to her once and see if she'll give us a solace. If not, we can read a book and get a solace out of it. Or maybe one of our books will give us a solace. Once these grew only on one tiny island on the other side of the world. That's Empire for you, and that has given us Memory Scent. Green scents recall rain. So now we can add spices and savors. That. A memory scent. And our shaft, because that has forge on it. And use that to improve spices and savors to level 2. Some gossip. Faust is better now. So let us see. We can use our Tryst, and we need a book that has Solace. So we'll move this one down to our memory shelf here. Actually, we can use this one, What Does Not Bark, because it gives us heart as well. And we have finished reading Perugian Diaries. In 1907, at the age of 18, Christopher Illapoli left Strathcone's household to study theology at the University of Perugia in Italy, enrolling under the name Christopher Strathcone. For 4 years since his adoption from a Bristol orphanage, Illapoli serves as Strathcone's pupil and protege, but his relationship with this austere and secretive man was always complicated. His journal confides, "I still think Fraser's intentions are good. Certainly he agrees, but I never understood the final goal of his investigations. He was never prepared to enlighten me. And good intentions or not, I can no longer bear this dream of eyes. We have agreed to part, almost amicably." Illapoli left Perugia in 1909 without completing his degree. He had long lost interest in his studies, and the latter half of the journal is concerned with his studies of Umbrian folk songs and notes towards his own compositions, which are of widely varying quality. One of the better ones, In the Marshes of Night, suggests he visited the site of the old Lake Fucinus near Ortuccio. This has taught us a cheerful ditty and a lesson on strings and songs. So we will mark that this gives us a cheerful ditty, a rather handy little piece of song that will come in very handy. We could actually use that with Mrs. Kill instead. I forgot about that. So this will give us 2 heart and 1 sky. And Spices and Savors is now level 2. And we will learn strings and songs. Another gossip. Doesn't really help us much. So we will give her the cheerful ditty. Actually, we'll wait and give her this, because I think I may have use for the cheerful ditty elsewhere in a minute. Yes, to read Flayed Tantra. Alright, we have finished reading Just Verse, a rare surviving copy of Christopher Illapoli's notoriously unsuccessful volume of experimental poetry, published in 1912. Illapoli is clearly more interested in the occult than the aesthetic aspects of the work. By most measures, the rhymes are contrived, the meter inconsistent, the imagery banal. Still, even the worst verses have a compelling quality, and I find myself drumming my fingers on the desk to accompany their rhythms. In an afterword, Illapoli discusses mnemonic holometaboly, by which he seems to mean a sort of crafting process where memories, when fed into a preliminal meter technique in the presence of enough knock or rose, can blossom and fissure into a more potent versions of themselves. Well, that's a crafting hint right there, so that tells us that with preliminal meter at scholar level, plus a memory, we can get a stronger memory. We've learned memory pattern, something that fits just right. And we have learned preliminal meter lesson. So we will mark this book with memory pattern. And it will be added to our memory collection shelf here, as well as Perugian Diaries. And we have also finished reading Ambrosial. Westcott proudly announces his intention to transform cuisine to become an engine of alchemy, a fount of war. Westcott definitely seems like the eccentric kind. Westcott compares the ferocity of fire with the intensity of appetite, as, in essence, 1 essence. A fire's ability to transform and destroy grows when it is offered the correct fuel. So too, he implies, can a sufficiently inspired appetite allow its possessor to consume greatly, strangely, unwisely. This has given us 2 lessons on spices and savors, and a memory impulse. So we can... Alright, and we have learned strings and songs. The harmonies of the lower sky are here reproduced. Heart and sky. And we can mark the on Matthias and the Imago, now that we have the correct memory for that. We can also mark ambrosial. And we can learn preliminal meter. So we are going to need something with forge or nectar, so we can rest our health at the Sweet Bones. And let me see now, where was I? Okay, so that's all done. We can talk to Mrs. Kill with the cheerful ditty. And this will bring her up to 6 heart. And we have finished rereading What Does Not Bark and given us a memory storm, which we can use here in just a moment to read Locksmith's Dream. Actually, we'll go ahead and get started on that. So, Faust, Locksmith's Dream, Memory Storm, and the Armillary, the Astrolabe. And I can master this mystery, and this will give us information on Watchman's Paradox, so we'll be able to upgrade that another level. So, Spices and Savors needs 2 memories now. We need a Forge and Nectar. We have a Forge in memory, and we have a Nectar from Impulse. So that's good. We just need a piece of soul that can handle it, so which we're resting at the Sweet Bones now. Our health will be able to upgrade it once. And we can put Mrs. Kill to work, opening the Motley Tower 3rd floor. The theoplasmic miasma that hung around the room below is a little stronger here, and a little different, with a rotten, musky scent that suggests a decaying reptile house. Perhaps something layered here after the inhabitants departed. Perhaps the inhabitants dreamed unwisely. In any case, the right counter-influences will dispel it. So we can get her working on that, and we have learned preliminal meter. 9 modes, 9 horizons, the subtle rhythms of words which open ways. A knock and rose skill. And as soon as our health finishes here at the Sweet Bones in about 15 seconds, we'll be able to upgrade Spices and Savors to level 3. So we add Spices and Savors, a lesson, our 2 memories, and our health. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Improve this skill to level 3. So that will take us 30 seconds. Now, we need 3 memories to get it to level 4. But right now we only have 2 pieces of soul left, so we're going to have to wait for tomorrow to get that done. So we'll stick ambrosial on our memory shelf here. Move these over here. So actually, let's see here. Is there anything else that we can read at this moment with what we have? We have Grail and we have Rose. We could... Let's see, I don't think we have enough to get to 10. Yeah, because we don't have our Arab. So, do we have heart we can read? Yes, we do. We have the flayed tantra. So, let's pull this down here. We can use our core. We can use this memory of satisfaction. Gets us to 3. Let's see, okay. Magaphine Mysteries gives us 2. Or Edicts Inviolable would also give us 2. Strings and Songs would give us 1. Okay, that gives us 6. So we will take a chance on that. And we will also use our Duandratic core here. We can't use it. We'll wait the 30 seconds up here. Let's see, so can I use it here? I could use it here, I think. That would give me Stolen Secret, not helpful. Oh, and I realized we did not investigate the alchemy lab that was opened. We have the Flood Gallery. Thurza Blake, 7th librarian of the house, extended this space, decorating it with semi-precious materials and filling it with the finest art Hush House's money could buy. Of course, after her enthusiasms brought the house to the brink of penury, much of it had to be sold off. So we have a brand new workstation, the Alchemist's Glassware. Fragile vessels in which new substances are quickened. And we can add quite a variety of things to this to make various things. We have 2 new pieces of furniture, a lumpy melodic chair and a melodic chair. We have a bottle of Stargall ink, an ink traditionally but only rarely made with meteoric iron, a minor ink of power. We have quite a bit of art on the walls. We have 2 new books to catalog. A bottle of Armagnac Gis. Armagnac can only come from Gascony, but if you believe Monsieur Corentin, his vineyard began with the vine cuttings from Gis beyond the sea. And we have a bust of Eva de Wolf. This is the crystal called Solicite, the worm stone, polished to chill smoothness. Well, we know she was the last of the Baron Brancrugs, the 7th Baroness, so we can pop her into her niche. Not to be crossed, and not to be found. And we also have another batch of books over here, and we have a whole shelf full of various reagents and potions that we will get into at another point, plus another bottle of Perenculate. So we will go ahead and move these down to our to-be cataloged shelves. Alright, and we can now work on reading another What Does Not Bark again, so we can get some more, another storm for 2 heart memory. And Miss Kill has finished her work up here. The Motley Tower Regensburg Room. The physician Nathan lived here in the 15th century, and his family after that, tolerated by the monks, until King Henry dissolved the foundation and granted the isle to Hendrik. Hendrik turfed them out of the tower and furnished the place more to his own taste. But when Christopher Illapoli moved in 400 years later, he restored what he could. Illapoli wrote at the time of his sympathy as a rootless foundling for the outcast Nitan. I don't know what I am, but I don't think I'm English. So we have 3 more baronial books, a wine-dark chair, a reference image. This is no kind of reference for conventional medicine. A new desk, the Natan desk. It's an apothecary's desk, all right, but it dates from at least 100 years after Nathan of Regensburg came here. Of course, his son, his grandson, and his great-grandson were all Natans, too. And this gives us finally a place where we can use Rose and Moth to read books, as well as Knock and Heart. We have some more pieces of artwork, and we have a new bed, the guest bed Motley. An exile slept here long ago. This will allow us to place guests that are interested in Moth, if we need to keep them around for a while. So we'll go and put these on our to catalog shelf. We can move these down here. So let's see what kind of opportunities we're going to have to try and finish this. There's still a chance. So we're going to need things, Awen, or Epiphany. So we can find a thing that has 2 heart. I think we can probably do that. So we'll let that tick over. Alright, a thing. Fiddle with something here. So we need something with heart. Well, let's do our investigator here. Okay, so we have this has 1 heart. The Pale Mummet has 2 heart, but that would use it up if we used that. Let's see if we can find something else that may have heart that we can use. Hollowed Anthropoderm, we could use this. It has 2 hearts, so yes, that actually works. Onwards! There's still a chance. And we have finished reading The Locksmith's Dream, Stolen Reflections, the 4th volume of Teresa Galmier's expansive work, no longer a discussion of the dreams of artisans, but a valuable survey of other works. The tone is calmer than that of Trespasses, but occasionally fearful, even paranoid. This volume was published in 1926, but almost immediately recalled and pulped by the publisher. At the request of the author, or possibly the authorities, depending which story you believe, a few copies have survived. Gives us memory revelation and a lesson on Watchman's paradoxes. Janus is the gatekeeper, the twin god, the god that wounds, the presager of changes, the sun, the moon. So we identify him with the watchman, the twins, with the mother, with the forge, with the meniscate, and the madrigad. He cannot be all these. Can he? The Flamines knew the church, knew the dry land, knew Elgabalus. Is he then synthesis, or is he something else? In Galacia they called him Ianus Lamius, but the Obliviots are notorious for their slanders. Janus has, they say, not 1 face, but 2, to which I reply, why only 1? Why only 2? Hersault and Cosely, according to Thomas Love Denman, once agreed that Janus was all the gods and none. But later, Hersault described him as all the gods, and Cosely favored none. Denman was a sinister ditillant, but this rings true of them both. So we can mark this with memory revelation. And we have a memory revelation book here already, so we can toss this up here. And I think, let's see, so let's pull down some of our books that we have that will give us a modest memory library here. So we have, do we have a, yes, we have a, so that one we can remind ourselves, so that's brown, so that will give us fear. We have 108, so this is our confounding parable work. And what we can do, actually, we'll put Locksmith's Dream here with the Locksmith's Dream 2. We need, okay, that gives us some winter. Revelation. That one we do not have yet, so that one gives us some contradiction for edge. This one gives us intuition. Salt. And still have forgotten to reread that one. Okay, that one gives us hindsight. DeHorace Book 1 gives us, we can put this over here with DeHorace 2. Alright, so I think that's a good little collection there of books that we can farm for memories. We can put this over here for the moment. Let's see. This tantra is recorded as being spoken by an enigmatic individual identified as Peel, with many of the qualities of the mythological Naga. The flayed tantra played a notable part in Alexander Sparrow's paranoid pamphleteering. Peel was numbered among the great hooded princes, but it breaks with its brethren and followed the Thunderskin in the endless dance. Once Peel had peeled itself, it had the ink it needed to write the tantra. It had to face the wrath of its fellows. Here is the invocation it used to fend them off. And that did not use up our anthropoderm, surprisingly enough. And we learned 2 more lessons for Magaphine Mysteries, so we can advance that a little bit farther and get some more heart. And I think we actually do have... So Magaphine is moon and heart. So we would need a moon memory, which we do not have. Alright, so now we get into... We don't have anything we can do with the Watchman's Paradoxes yet. It is nighttime, so we can carry a memory over to tomorrow. So we will carry the Memory Storm over to tomorrow because we will need that for Magaphine. And we need one more heart or moon. So what we will do is we will read The Sea Does Not Regret, because that will give us a memory salt, and it should finish after the day ticks over, so we don't lose it. Oh, that was our memory ticking over. And we get a storm. Thunder roaring, lightning lashed skies. So before we quit for the day, we will go ahead and finish up this. And we have an offer from Oriflammes. For Nin's Cages, Bruges text illuminated. We need a 4. We only have 3, so unfortunately this is going to have to be something that we cannot do just yet. So we'll have to wait for that to come around next time. The Merciful Measures of the Witch Nin. This is only a partial version of the original, but it contains illustrations by Nin's pupil, Mabili of Bruges, which supplement the original. It's 10 Winter and Arapicaean, and it would teach us about quenchings and quellings. And if I remember right, we do already have, yes, we have the Avignon version of the text, The Merciful Measures of the Witch Nin, which is, again, written in Arapicaean, and is 16 hearts. So that would be a slightly easier version to read, and it would teach us the same skill, but again, we don't really have Arapicaean yet, and we don't have enough tally to afford it, so we're just going to have to say sorry this time on Oriflamme and wait for it to come around again. And there is our moon memory and our heart memory of storm. So we can take Magaphine Mysteries, the Memory Storm, Memory Salt, and a Magaphine Mysteries, and a core. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Alright, and now that we've got that goat running, I think that's probably a good time to call it a day. And thank you for joining me, and we will pick up from here next time. Probably start cataloging a few of these books. Actually, let's go ahead and start cataloging one of them already. A Curia period book from the 17s to 1800s. So we will pick up there and see what we can get from it. And we will see you on the next side. So thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed what you've been watching, please leave a like or a comment. Subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And I will catch you next time.